Hello! It is day 18. It is day 18 of a Proverb A Day. I'm so excited to be here doing this with you guys. We're using natural lighting today, so we're kind of squinty, but we in this thing. So I'm so excited to get started. We're almost done, and something that I've really been enjoying is, like I said the other day, like every single day I'm learning something new. Every single day I am applying something new, or like I'm being put in a position where I have to apply literally what I was just talking about. So this has just been a lot of fun. If you don't know what's going on, hello. This is a Proverb a Day for 31 days. We're starting in May. Today's May 18th. So if you want to join, please feel free to join. We have the link to the actual Bible plan we're all doing together, but we're reading the Bible. So whatever translation you want to read it in, or however, like, it's Proverbs, the word is the same, right? Cool, great, okay. So let's get started. We're on chapter 18. And let me open up my notes. Okay, so the very first verse says, through desire a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. And I was low-key kind of confused. So I had to look a little deeper. And basically it's just saying isolating yourself is to seek your own pleasure. So isolation is no good. And that's actually something that I have grown through, and it's literally very much so like nobody but God, and like healing me in that way because of just my own life experiences and things that I've like gone through. I'm very big on, I can do it by myself, and hyper independence from life. And I'm like, I can do it by myself. I don't need people. Like, and as much as I love people and like I love being around people, it just was easier to rely on myself and not rely on anybody else. And so yeah, but now I'm in a place where like every single person that's in my life I trust, and they have not let me down. But I'm also in the place where even if there comes up to a point where they maybe do something that hurts my feelings or disappoints me or whatever, like I'm at a point now where I can accept that because it's okay. Like don't be so hard on people. Like nobody is perfect, and sometimes I mess up too. Like I'm not always as present in the people that I care about's life like as I want to be. And so it's just really a lot of like understanding. And yeah, so like isolation, if you feel yourself starting to isolate, that's really something to think about, because there are times where I'm like, I just don't want to talk to anybody. And there's a difference between like needing to recharge and isolating. And I think deep down you really know which is which, like which one you're doing, what place you're operating from. Like, are you operating from fear, or are you operating from love? Because that's really like everything, every single action boils down to those two things. Like, are you operating in fear, or are you operating in love? And like really think about it. Even when people get angry, you like, when you peel it back, it's like, okay, well, what made you mad? Okay. And like a lot of the times it's not mad. I think anger is just a really quick emotion. Anger is a more practiced emotion and a more accepted emotion than a lot of the other emotions. And so it's easier for people to be angry than to just say, I'm disappointed, or I'm sad, or I'm discouraged, or I'm scared, So yeah. Verse 2, a fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy, that's what it says. And with ignominy, reproach. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. And so basically, it isn't good to accept evil, and it isn't good to dismiss good and just. And there's a lot in the world nowadays. There is a lot of accepting of evil. There's a lot of things that we have normalized that they're not good things. They're wicked things, they're evil things, they're perverse things, and there's a lot of things. And like when people come out and say something about it, then people are dismissing the good, people are dismissing the just, people are ignoring the people who are saying what is the truth. Verse 6, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. And so verse 9 is basically just saying being lazy and wasteful, those are kin. They twinning them, you know, like they are they're very close. And so the English Standard Version, it says whoever, maybe I can put this up here so I don't have to keep looking down. But now I'm looking over. Anyway, it says, whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. So that is just something to think about, because I know that there are a lot, and like there's a fine line between a lot of different things. Like there's a fine line between resting and being lazy, and I think that's the importance of like knowing what season you're in, knowing if you are in a season where you need to work and you need to grind, and knowing if you're in a season where you've done all that you've done everything that God has told you to do, and now you just need to sit and reap the benefits. So yeah. Verse 10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. So you're always gonna find safety in God, in his word, in his presence, in his arms, laying on his chest, on this up, you know, like that is the safest place to be. And 11, the rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall in his own conceit. And so the rich man, he finds his purpose, he finds his worth in his money and the wall that he can put around others and the thing that differentiates him from other people. 12, before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. So knowing your heart is knowing your outcome. That's what I wrote down, and that's, you know, what I got from it. So if you know that you're not operating in a place of love, like do not be surprised if the outcome is not a peaceful, loving, joyous outcome, you know. And then in the English Standard, it said humility comes before honor. And I think that's important to know, like you have to be humble before you can reach a lot of levels. A lot of the places that you want to go, you probably haven't made it there yet because of your pride. And that's really something to like, that's a gut punch sometimes when you realize that it's you standing in your own way. Like it's you. It's nothing else. You can blame everything that you want to blame, but like at the end of the day, it's you standing in your way. And so, you know, we gotta humble ourselves. Like it's so important. 13, he that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. And I really like this verse because there are times that people have told me, I already know what you're going to say, or even I've said, I already know what you're going to say. And that is not operating in wisdom. You have to give people a chance to express themselves. You really don't know what people are thinking. There have been plenty of times in my life, even recently, where people have absolutely surprised me. And I'm very grateful and very happy that they surprised me. I know for a fact it's nobody but God, because God moves people and God changes people, okay? And so it's just been really, really cool. It's been absolutely amazing. And, you know, you just gotta give people a chance. Like, don't assume, I said this the other day, don't assume the worst, like, with people. And some people might say, well, don't assume the best. But, like, I don't know. I feel like you live a fuller, happier life just assuming that everything is, again, I live in happy gumdrop land. So that's just me. But yeah, like give people a chance to express themselves, give people a chance to let you down, give people a chance to surprise you, like give people a chance. It is not wise to just assume that you know everything. It's not wise to assume that you know how somebody's feeling or how somebody's operating. Asking questions, gaining clarity, all of that stuff is important. So yeah. 14, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear it? The heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh and searcheth him. Oh, verse 16. I did make a note for that. A man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. So I wrote down your gifts are connected to your purpose and will be what God uses to open doors for you. So if you know, I think the way that I kind of like tripped into my purpose, and you know, I don't think I'm all the way there yet. I think I am currently operating in my purpose, absolutely, but I think that there's more to be unraveled and unwrapped. And so I'm really, really excited just to see like the way that God is going to move in my life and just in the life of those around me, because I know that I'm just a part. Like, I'm not the big picture. And so it's just really amazing to like see it, it's just beautiful. I love it. I love seeing people get excited about the word, and I love seeing people, you know, want to talk about God and want to talk about the Bible. And I love that so much. And again, I know like it's not me at all. Everything I'm doing is not me. It's literally none of it got anything to do with me. It is all God. But I think like one of the gifts that I believe that I was given was because I am so just like, you know, and I'm not scared to talk to people. I love talking to people. I'm always talking. I say it. People ask me, you know, like, why did you start doing this and what made you want to do this? And I'm like, well, back in the day when I was in the world and I was smoking and I was drinking and I was half naked and I was shaking it and I was throwing it back and I was at clubs every night and I was at bars every night and I was doing all this stuff, like I proudly broadcasted all of that. Like everybody always knew when I was doing whatever, when I was out doing the hookah, and like y'all knew that, y'all saw that. So why would I change my tune when I'm singing about something that actually needs to be spread? Like why would I change my tune when I am doing something that would actually benefit people and give them life, like bring them to life? Like I was honestly like accidentally, because I mean I knew but I didn't know, you know, like I was leading people to death, and I don't want to do that. Like no, like I would much rather my mom used to tell me my mom used to tell me when I was little, she used to say, use your powers for good and not for evil. Because my entire life I've always just been somebody who I just talk about things that excite me, and it gets other people excited too. And that's just my personality. And so if I'm talking about something that excites me, but it's really not a good thing, but I'm still getting people excited and ready to do it with me, like I'm leading us. Like one thing about me back in the day, my friends already knew, like when we were going out, like it was, you already know what it is. Like I'm coming at you, we drinking, like I got that bottle, I'm pouring it up, we're doing all of that, right? And I was an influence. I influenced people to have that behavior when that may not be something that they would naturally do. And that's on me. Like that is my cross. Like, and that's something that I've already, you know, me and God, we had that conversation. And so I'm like, it makes no sense for me to now that God has changed my life, to make me silent. Like God took away all the parts of me that were not of him. God took away all the parts of me that he did not give me. Okay? And this is something that he gave me. This is one of the gifts that God gave me. God gave me the gift to talk to people and to be excited and to love on people and to care about people and just want the best for people. And even again, like even when I was out living my party life, like I still cared about people, and I was finding all these different ways to help with your mental health and all this stuff, because that's something that I'm really passionate about. Not knowing that I'm low-key accidentally being a witch. Like I'm telling people to go and get aligned with your chakras and go plant your feet in the grass and say this and do that, like giving people spells accidentally. Like I'm doing all of that. I'm using my influence and my voice for evil and not for good. And so it makes no sense for me to now know what is good and know what is the truth and not want to get out here and tell everybody about it. So it's a long-winded way of saying your gifts are connected to your purpose. So think about the things that you've always had in you. And I'm so big on asking God, like, ask God, who am I? What am I here for? Like, what are the gifts that you need me to utilize in this moment? What are the gifts that you need me to strengthen, you know? And one thing I know is God is going to answer you. I used to say it every day, but I haven't been saying it as often. But I ask God, I say, God, remove the parts of me that are not like you. Show me the parts of me that are not like you, and then help me change it. And that'll be the day that a bunch of stuff start popping up, okay? And so yeah, and I just think it's important, like, ask God. God gonna answer you. Like, he literally wants to have a real relationship with us. He doesn't want to be a friend of a friend to us. Like, he wants to be our bestie. He wants to be our rider. He wants to be our road dog. He wants to be our big homie, you know? So, yeah. 18. The lot causeth contentions to cease and parteth between the mighty. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. So I wrote, do a favor and win a friend forever. Nothing can untie that bond. I want to say that was also in the English Standard. That was either in the English Standard or the Message. And that's verse 19. And so 19 is saying, you know, it's harder to change somebody's mind or become somebody's friend when you've offended them. And I'm sure everybody can think of a moment where they offended somebody on purpose or on accident. And even if it was already like even if it was already a relationship that you had, but you offended them and you were never able to come back from that. You were never able to like repair that friendship, that relationship, that situation. So yeah, like it's harder to do that. So just, you know, be kind out here to people, be slow to speak, be slow to anger. Like, you don't always have to respond. Take time if you need to think. Like, there's nothing wrong with thinking before you talk, okay? There's nothing wrong with thinking before you talk. So, yeah. And then 20, a man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. That is one scripture that I know in my heart because my mom used to tell it to me all the time when I was little. And that is part of the reason why I'm so big on speaking life, because there was a period where I was not speaking life and I saw it around me. But for the most part, I do speak life and I can see it around me. And my mom used to tell me all the time when I was a little girl. My mama used to say a lot of scriptures to me. And one of them was death and life is in the power of the tongue. And also, God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind, because I was a scary little girl. And I used to worry. Oh my goodness, I used to worry so much when I was little, like stomach in knots, up all night, worried about everything. Like, to this day, still don't watch the news, because why am I gonna do that to myself? Every news that I ever needed to know came to me. Every single piece of news I ever needed to know came to me. I did not have to seek it out, so I do not watch the news to this day. I just don't. I'll read an article, okay? And I know too much, because once upon a time when I was in college, now I changed my major like 5, 6, 7 times, right? I really don't know how many, but I know it was more than a handful. And at one point, my major was media and TV and film. And when I learned how they be sandwiching up them packages, no, you're not about to sit here and put me on an emotional roller coaster for an hour, 2 hours. You're not going to manipulate my feelings like that. No. So I stopped watching the news. But y'all can watch the news if you want to watch the news. I'm not boycotting the news or anything like that. I personally, for my mental health, do not watch the news, because every piece of news I ever needed, it found me. But what you confess is what you will obtain, is what I wrote. So yeah, verse 22, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Now I know y'all love that verse, right? It's a good one. Don't get me wrong, it's a good one. And so it's basically saying, when you acquire a good thing, so your wife has to be happy and pleasant. That's what a good thing means. Happy and pleasant, and prosperity is one of the definitions of good thing. So you acquire and you secure it, and you also get favor from God. But the thing is, it's a continual thing. So he that findeth, which means you continually, it means Strong's number 6256, if you want to go look it up. It is time. So especially now, because I mentioned the other day, Miss Tiffany Montgomery, she talked about that. So I said, okay, you know what, let me look it up today for myself, because I need to know, because I don't need to be out here just saying what I remember, because my memory can be faulty, you know. And it means time, especially now, continually. So continually securing your wife is continually securing favor from God. So, and when I say securing your wife, that's keeping your wife. That is keeping your wife in whatever way that means. So the same way you got her, it needs to be the same way that you were treating her years later. Like, and for your husband too. Like, I know this is about wife and it focuses on wife and whatever, but like, same thing. Like, the same way that he got him. Like, if he fell in love with you because you were nurturing and you were kind and you always rubbed his head and you always told him things you loved about him every day, don't stop doing that. Don't stop doing that. He deserves it, just like you deserve it. Like, come on, continue. That's how you gotta keep the love alive, okay? How you gotta keep the love alive. So 23. The poor useth entreaties, but the rich answereth roughly. A man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. And so originally when I read that, I was like, okay, you know, like, don't be rude, show yourself friendly. Excuse me, but then I saw deeper. And it's basically saying somebody can have a bunch of people around them, have a bunch of friends, and be the absolute worst person in the world. And they have to show that they are able to keep friends. They have all these friends, right? But then you'll find people who are going to be so close to you, they're literally family. And I talked about this yesterday. When you find the people in your life, when the people find you and they are anointed to be in your life, they are anointed to be your friends, they are anointed to be your husbands, wives, besties, sisters, brothers, all that stuff, like that, you got to hold on to that, like, and you got to tend to that well. You have to steward that relationship well. Those people are anointed to be with you, right? But yeah, so I wrote, don't be rude and hard body, and then some friends will be closer to you than family. And just because you have a big circle, it doesn't mean that you're a kind person. And yeah, and I think it is like, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a lot of friends, as I was a person who literally used to have like double-digit best friends. I called everybody and they mama my best friend. And as I've gotten older and a little bit wiser, and this was like a revelation in the past few months, I accepted that all those people that I used to call my best friends, they are not my best friends. And I don't say that in a mean way. I still love them very, very much. I still care for them deeply. I love them. I love them so much. I wish them the best, always wanting them to prosper. But they're not my best friends, because I had to reevaluate, what does it mean to me to be a best friend? And there are some people who fit that, and there are some people who don't fit that. And that is okay. That is perfectly fine, because we grow and we change. But yeah, so just because you have a lot of people around you, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but point is, just because you have a lot of people around you does not mean, like, people can have 80 billion people around them and not really know any of those people and not actually be a real friend to those people. So be a good person, be a good friend. Same way you got them is how you're going to keep them. Maybe, I don't know. I say yes. Again, if you got that person, if you got that friend, we don't even have to make it romantic. If you got that friend because whenever y'all first started hanging out, you were initiating conversation, you were initiating hangouts, you were paying attention to what they like, you were learning them, like, don't stop doing that. For all relationships, people only like to highlight like romantic relationships, but all relationships take work. All relationships require a date. All relationships require quality time. And nurturing and care. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope that you guys have a good one, and I love y'all so much. Goodbye.